commercial, and commercial is an even bigger problem than residential. Commercial is on a crash course.
I heard that the other day that commercial was going to be a problem.
The commercial is on a crash course, and we're starting to see. I also think the media plays a really good job in obviously getting people excited. They give us a false sense of hope by by writing certain stories that have some sort of a positive spin, and then they also do a really good job of creating a negative environment. By the media, I don't mean the radio station. No, by the media, I mean for the most part a lot of the print journalisms, a lot of the television. You talk about these news shows. I mean, someone was telling me once there's close to 250 hours a day that the news shows on TV, the cable news shows, have to program.
Well, most of them really don't know what they're talking about, Ron.
They don't know what they're talking about, and some of them
just know how to talk.
Right.
That's it. That's the key. They know how to talk, but they don't know what they're talking about.
See, and that's what's great about me. I know what I'm talking about. I just don't know how to talk. So it kind of works.
That's not true.
It works really well with me. And Jimmy, you know what? Another thing, Jimmy. Tell me about some of the other things that you're also involved with the Jewish Federation.
Well, I am a longstanding member of the Greater Miami Jewish Federation's Real Estate Committee. I work very closely with them to put on real estate-related programming. I'm also on the foundation board for the Federation, which helps to keep charitable continuity. And I think it's very important in our community that we be involved, because our community is only as strong as its weakest link. And right now, the charities are suffering, the populace is suffering, and I think that we really need to band together and make it through together. Right now is the time for our community to come together and work together. And unfortunately, a lot of people are under economic stress, and that gives them a short fuse.
I agree. And, we do have, in the city, an election this year in the city of Miami coming up in November. We have a new mayoral election, which is, again, going to probably galvanize the city to a certain degree. You've got, Tomas Regalado against Commissioner Regalado against Commissioner Sanchez. Sort of an old guard against the new guard type. Joe's kind of known as a Manny Diaz, who our current mayor. Clone and Thomas Regalado is kind of, hey, you know what? Let's take it back to where it used to be. There's a lot of talk about all these big buildings should not have been built, and that the politicians should have sat there and said, whoa, we don't need 1,800 units at this. We don't need. And that they didn't do that, and that there should have been some. And if that was the case, then we wouldn't have some of the issues that we have, right now.
Okay, well, there's something coming up next year called the Florida Hometown Democracy Initiative. It's going to address that issue. Unfortunately, it'll require that every single land use change be voted on by the citizenry. We'll have a 1-hour show to discuss the problems with that.
Good, because that's what we're going to want to do.
And we can even bring in the folks from both sides and have them talk. But quite frankly, a lot of this stuff was only built because they could get bank financing. A majority of it was built by lenders that were, I got to just say it this way, on commission. It's what happens every time. They come in from out of town. This time it was from Atlanta and Chicago. Last time it was from New York. They come in, they're on commission, they get paid by how much money they put out, and a developer, it's in his DNA to build as much as he possibly can get financed. And quite frankly, a lot of this was needed if you looked at it on an individual basis. But on a group basis, we may have 10 years of building that's occurred here. I used to drive across the street from the American Airlines Arena and wave my arm at the signs and say, there's the site for the 3 largest buildings in the world, and laugh. And now there's the site for the 3 largest condos in the world. I mean, I'm stretching it, but not by much.
Right.
And you're looking out the window and you see South Point. You wonder if it's going to collapse underneath all the weight that they built on it. But quite frankly, this is the future of Miami, and you can't go back.
Listen, I love it down here. I relocated back to Miami. I'm a grad, and the one blemish actually probably on Jimmy Freed's resume is that he is a Gator. But I love him. He's never invited me over for dinner, but that's okay. I still love you, Jimmy. Listen, how can people get in touch with you? Tell us.
Okay, people can find me through my website. My web address, JFRIED at SS, that's Sierra Ari for real estate, FL for Florida.com. jfried@ssrefl.com. Another email for my mortgage business is Fried, F-R-I-E-D. It's Spectrum Mortgage. Well, you missed it. We're trying to help America be great here.
For all of those people out there that had a pen in hand, you know what? Don't worry. We'll be posting. We're going to have a website going up soon, and everyone that's on the show that week will be posted. We're trying to come up with the name of the website, and we're thinking of calling it The Ron Man Show. I kind of like that, you know. I kind of like to use that as much. Someone already took it? Dang, I bet you Rich took that, didn't he? I know
you can't have the Man Show. That's been done.
We can't. Listen, thank you, Jimmy. Thanks a lot, and we're gonna have you back on the show, you know, from time to time.
Ron, thank you so much. You're one of my favorite guys. I really enjoyed our time together.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Peace out.
Go for it. Okay, guys, I think we're actually coming up to a break. We've got a couple of minutes. George, you know what? How do you think this first show is going? I mean,
you've had some great guests.
Right.
This right here, right now, this was awesome. The information that's going forth.
Yeah, Jimmy's a good guy. And I knew that Jim would be great about it. And thanks for coming on board. A couple of things coming up. We've got about a minute until the end of the show. As we said at the beginning, at the bottom of the hour, we are going to be running this every Thursday, 5 to 6. And I've been getting an enormous amount of texts. I got I've got a lot of texts that have been coming in from people. No, we got about 20 or 30 that have been coming in. I appreciate that. A couple other quick things. We are going to be having a contest. Not the one I just mentioned. I'm sorry? I'm going to tell him that. I'm going to tell him that, Tony. Don't worry. We are going to be having a contest, a sidekick contest. I'm going to be interviewing sidekicks. So for the next 5 or 6 weeks, we're going to be bringing sidekicks on. George, you just walked in. George Fernandez from IOS. Good shout out to George. And also so we'll be talking a little bit more about that. And before I forget, guys, tonight, and I did mention this before, we are going till 7 o'clock tonight. This normally we'll stop at 6, but tonight we're going till 7 because we're here live at the Havana Club. The party's starting to pick up a little bit. And then each week, tell me something, George. Each week we're going to be doing my show 5 to 6, and then you guys are going to have a live show every week from 6 to 7 somewhere, correct?
6 to 7, we're going to be live somewhere in Miami, and then on the 21st we're going to be at the Blue.
Awesome.
And you'll be live over there.
We'll be live. The Blue's a phenomenal place out of Doral. I've been out there for dinner a few times. I've seen the rooms out there are amazing. In fact, at the recent CA Championship, they had about a half a dozen golfers that were living
the pros
that could have stayed at Doral, the resort, that stayed at the Blue, instead, and it's a fabulous place. So we'll be doing a live show out there.
On 21st.
Oh, so we'll bring everyone out to Doral for that. That'll be awesome. So we're coming up to the close of this show. I'd like to thank everyone. I've been getting a lot of great texts from you out there. The next show we're going to have, probably going to be able to call in
at the studio.
Call in at the studio next
week.
They
could call in now. We just didn't open the lines.
That's okay. That's all right. It's my first show. I'm a little nervous. My skeevies are a little
sweaty.
Did a good
job.
I just want to make sure that I did things the right way, and we're feeling good, and we got a lot of great things ahead of us, and that's really what. Let's leave it with that. We're looking for a sidekick. We're looking for a theme song. And we're looking for a catchphrase.
All right.
There you have it.
There you have it.
All right. So I don't want to use like "May the Force be with you" or anything like that. That's kind of taken. But I'll come up.
May the man be with you.
Most of my catchphrases are nasty, and the FCC says I can't say them. So we'll be doing that. And again, I want to thank everyone for coming on board. And stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We're going another hour. Come on down to the Havana Club. Open bar, free drinks, free food. Mercy Ambassadors kickoff. We're glad to have you.
Thanks for joining us on another scintillating edition of The Ron Man Show. There is only one person in South Florida that knows and lives with the movers and shakers. One person who knows the ins and outs of the South Florida business elite. There is only one man that fits the bill. Ron Man. The Ron Man Show is the weekly place to be on the radio. Join Ron every Thursday at 6 p.m. and hear great guests for 60 minutes of impacting and entertaining talk. The Man, Ron Man. The Ron Man Show. Exclusively here on South Florida's only business radio station. 880 AM. The BIZ.